I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Communications. Feature staff member, Mrs. Emilio.
I had the privilege of selecting the featured staff member for the month of March, but we're going to present that tonight. And I'm going to ask for the staff member's direct supervisor, Principal Cheryl Robinson, to come up and speak a little bit more about why we selected Dawn McClanahan.
Yes, she was in the parking lot when I drove up.
We're hoping.
You're out there and Julie is her direct supervisor, so
Okay.
I'm going to have Julie up here with me also. If she's out there. She like the Von Fault family and go, she's gone. I know, I saw her driving up. I know, I saw her. She's come back. Okay, you want me to go on? Go ahead. May I go on?
Absolutely.
And since Jefferson's already here, first of all the shirts out here you see, these are homecoming / field day shirts for this year. We decided we had a new plan this year because shirts are getting more expensive, and everyone's getting more shirts, that we would buy the shirts in the fall. So in the fall, when we bought them for homecoming for all the children, they were way too big for them. But they're growing yet, and they're going to be using them again very soon. And if you notice there, Angie Winch would love it because they're all color-coded this year. My third grade sitting right over here in their shirts, and second grade is back there in the orange shirts, and the green shirts are first grade. I don't see any fourth grade around, but they're probably hanging out back there. They have bright yellow ones, and all everybody else got pink ones like us around. Which brings me to, brings us to our feature staff member. Come on up here.
Perfect segue, Cheryl.
She's got a pink shirt like me. This is Dawn McClanahan. She's our Title I Waldo at Jefferson Elementary. And last month, Laura asked me about, because I had been down here bragging on my Title I staff. And she said, what do you think about me making one of them the classified? I said, oh, number one, all three of you could be. I also had Bree Griever down for second grade, and I had Megan Sawyer, who all year long, in any job I have asked these three ladies to do, they have willingly done it, going into classrooms, substituting, helping during our preparation for MAP. What else? Oh, getting ready for any kind of luncheon we have. They're the ones that have to set up, not only set the luncheon up, get the ice, get everything out, then take it, decorate, take it all down, and get back to class and go ahead and do their job. In the meantime, and I'm sure Ms. Amito saw this, that when we did our iReady testing and we done our Rigby's, their scores have gone sky high. In fact, Julie Umfleet, who used to be a Title I teacher this year, can I tell on you, Julie? She came in after first semester and said, Cheryl, I think the Title I aides are kind of advocating a little bit, or hoping or something, because I do not think, was this not exactly the quote? We first grade teachers think these are a little high, right?
She told us.
These are a little high. These scores are high because, you know, they were way down and they're not this good. I think they're giving them too much time. They're helping them something. I don't think they're right. Go ahead and take them and go ahead and feel good, but when you come back after Christmas, we may have to look at this again. She came back in the middle of January after our iReady testing and said, I was all wrong. Those scores are right. And those first graders have just soared the rest of the year, have they not? So we thought it was very appropriate to recognize all of her hard work, and again, the classified staff in the building. I mean, early every morning, 7:30 in the morning, she has the job from HE double toothpicks. That is calming them down, walking them down in a very quiet, straight line to the gym, and waiting for their teachers to pick them up in the morning. And all of you guys that are out there know that that is a job, and she does fabulous at the whole thing. They're very orderly, and we have very few problems. Every once in a while, a backpack gets thrown around, but on the whole, she does a very good job. So we just want to tell you how much we appreciate you every day in the building.
Thank you.
And
And Dawn. We want to present you with this plaque. We really appreciate all of your hard work, and we know it's hard work.
it is.
I feel hands. I just want to say thank you. This position has been awesome. I work with great teachers. I mean, they are great. I've been able to observe them for the few years, and it's been awesome working at Jefferson, and just I don't know. I'm in awe. I was not expecting this at all. So thank you.
So, Heartland Hero. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Okay. I know I almost forgot that. I'm on silence last night. I thought fourth grade was going to pass out on me. But Heartland Hero. This was not difficult this year at all because number one of our T-shirts right here that we're standing in that I started to talk about. For the last 8 years, we have had 2 people that have been in our PTG, have been grade level chairs for us each year, first, second, third, fourth, and then first, second, third, fourth again, and have helped us, and I'm sure some of you have seen them, the kids running around in their crazy T-shirts on homecoming. Each year a different T-shirt. Some years they drew on them, some years they just had homecoming stallion stampede on them. And the kids that morning of homecoming, which is pretty much a wasted morning, spent the morning walking around the track at Jefferson, eating healthy foods and snacks, and making money for Jefferson, which was really fun for me. Okay, well, and the person that came up with that bright idea, or the couple that came up with that bright idea about doing something very healthy that morning and beneficial to our school and get a T-shirt out of it, was Corey and Julie Clippy. And they have been on our PTG for the last 8 years. Van is a 4th grader, getting ready to go to 5th grade, and it's their last year that they're going to be here. Not only did they support the Stallion Stampede, and we made enough money to pay for our T-shirts, they were also all donated a nice little chunk of change each year to help pay for the T-shirts. So it ended up being a profitable, whether we made enough money walking around the back of Jefferson that morning or not, the T-shirts were paid for the students to wear all day long. So we want them to come up and be our Heartland Heroes.
Married again.
You may speak and then you may take
Well, I'm gonna miss Jefferson.
I bet. Probably not gonna miss me, but it's been a long time.
We said you had to stay there as long as Van.
I know. He said that all along. If once Van leaves, you can leave, Cheryl, so.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Can I say something about them real quick?
Yes, mine.
It's totally unexpected. I didn't plan anything to say, but I'm a teacher over at Jefferson 3rd grade, and I had Van in class. And a lot of times you hear the students say, I want that teacher next year. I want that teacher. Well, I was the one who said, I want them next year because they were fantastic parents to have, and they have quiet mannerisms, and their involvement in the building is tremendous, but they're so humble about what they truly do for us at Jefferson. And I truly mean us, the students, the staff, everyone. So you are greatly, greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
Okay, I haven't cried yet. Good. Okay, as we, say our goodbyes with these two, I'm going to try not to cry as we move on to the next one. Our featured teacher this year is our one teacher that's retiring this year from the building. She and I started teaching in Farmington the same year and went to new teacher orientation, and of course she went straight to Jefferson as a third grade teacher, had done her student teaching there, went to third grade, and of course then I came to Jefferson, left Jefferson, came back to Jefferson, and we spent a lot of years together. She was one of those fortunate teachers, I think, that got to spend time raising her family before she went back and got a degree and started back in and got a job and was able to have her boys all the way up in school and then start on her career. And she's been an asset in a million ways at Jefferson. And if any of you want to come up and say anything, any of my staff that's out here today, I'd love for you to. When I went back over her file, which is that thick yesterday, because not a file of bad things, just that. Okay, I have to go and look at my little notes. Where did I put it? Okay. I kind of told her about this earlier today, and she was like, I don't think so, Cheryl. And I said, oh, yes. This is what they used to do as far as at the end of the year, fill out their goal sheet, and it's just lovely. Some of you might want to look at it on a little mimeograph sheet, and it's got teacher name at the top, and then they had a curriculum, and then building and grounds, short-term and long-term on building and grounds, and then your professional growth at the bottom of it. And I mean, this is her like second year of teaching on it. And we laugh because under curriculum it says complete writing the competencies in all subjects and familiarize myself with the computer lab. So that was her short term. She was going to completely get the curriculum written. How about that? We like that one, right? I thought that was a good goal. And familiarize yourself with the computer lab. Now, Jefferson doesn't even have a computer lab. So I don't know what happened to it. It's gone. Okay. And the second one was, again, what we're doing right now, construct and implement more hands-on activities in my math classes. Okay? 22 years later, we're still working on those hands-on activities in our math classes. Now, neither one of those were done. They didn't have yellow marks underneath them. Now, Ms. Presnell put yellow marks on the ones that were completed, if you notice that, in her neat little way of doing things. Her short-term, where's my glasses? What do I do with my glasses, guys? That's what I say every day of the week, okay? I have them right here. They're not on my head. Oh, damn, thank you. So this is real light writing here, okay? Short-term goals at Jefferson, more storage space. There is no storage space at Jefferson, so there's still no storage space. That wasn't highlighted. It says room painted. You did get your room painted, okay? That was part of her goals. And more manpower hours to clean the building was another one of your goals. And I thought that was really nice of you to help out, who was it, Mr. Carlton or somebody who was doing that back in those days. Long-term goals, these were all met. You got a teacher's lounge. We're still, I don't know where it happened, and we had got more workspace, and we started on a building project to reduce our class size. Hey, another new goal, right, Mr. Milligan? We like that. So we look, and the last one was on our short-term goals for professional growth were finish the computer class that I am taking and do more hands-on activities in my class, and our long-term goals was to finish your master's degree, which you did. So I thought these were very, over 20 plus years ago, very entertaining and much like what we're looking at today. But like I said, I'm still looking for some of these things here that I never have found at Jefferson. But we want to thank her so much for being part of our staff Mary Beth is one of these people, and we've had this happen, unfortunately. We've had to stay till 7 or 8 o'clock at night because of tornadoes or whatever, or anything that happens. And I can always depend on Mary Beth to be the last one out of the building. She will stay until I say go home. And if I say come in on Saturday, we got to do this, I'm not saying she's going to be happy about it, but Mary Beth would be there anytime I ask her. So we want you to enjoy retirement. I know you're looking forward to spending more time with those grandchildren, but you are going to be sorely missed. And thank you all 3rd grade for supporting her tonight. I really have. Okay. I take this out personally. I will. Oh, I like that. Okay, you want to talk and I'll hold this?
So, well, Cheryl wanted to know, this isn't my thing to do, but I do want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity of spending 22 years in Farmington. I've worked with a lot of wonderful educators. I've learned a lot from them. I've made a lot of friends. I'm going to have a lot of fond memories to take with me. And I just wish all of my colleagues the best and of teaching with and serving the students. And I know you'll do a great job because you have. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Miller, for being here tonight. And I'm sitting down.
And the April featured staff member, Ms. Ribby.
Oh, okay.
Mine's going to be a little faster than Cheryl because I don't like in front of public, okay? I have the privilege of giving our classified staff or featured staff for April. She started in district in 1988 at Truman. From Truman, she was a aide, instructional aide. Then she moved to middle school in 1991. Then she moved to Lincoln, and then she went back to Truman, and she retired from Truman. Our featured staff member for the month of April is Pam Sebastian. It's not a surprise to her because I had to call and say, Pam, I need you at the board meeting. What for? Because she's retired. I need you to show up, Pam. What for? Okay, Pam, I'm just going to tell you. So I really had to pull her arm to get here because she goes, well, I want to go out. I have dinner plans. Well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to come first. But Pam, I would like to give this to you. Thank you for the many years of service. I had the privilege of working with you at middle school, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you all.
Colonel Winiger, Lieutenant Colonel Winiger.
Thank you for inviting us to come over and give you an update just on our program and to highlight some of our special students. I'm Steve Winiger. I'm the AFJROTC instructor at the high school. I've been there 16 years. Out of the 17 years the program has been there. With me is Senior Master Sergeant Ernie Heflin, who's completing his 3rd year at Farmington High School and doing a wonderful job for us. I'd like to highlight a few of our students. We have 2 commanders from this past year, Emily Klaus and Rebecca Tamir, 2 seniors. They're going to be leaving us, and they're going to be sorely missed. They've done an outstanding job leading ROTC through this past year, so I think they deserve a round of applause. They're going to leave it in the capable hands of the 2 bookends here. Cadet Emily Damba is going to be our commander in the fall. And then next spring, Laura Lee Bader will be our commander. And I want to thank the school board and the community for the outstanding support for our program. As you know, the Air Force has taken a big cut. ROTC has taken a 20% cut. But due to the efforts of the school board, We were able to get a Farmington Education Foundation grant for $5,000, and the community has given us $6,500 in the past year. School budget's been solid, we appreciate that, but if it wasn't for the community, our kids wouldn't be doing anything. And at this time, I would like Sergeant Ernie Heflin to share just a few things that our students have done in this community.
I'm the geek of the squad. I'm the one that does numbers. Real fast, what we've done. We've done over 232 events this year, coming up with 1,350 community service hours. We set some goals early in the year. The first one of our goals that we met was we wanted 90% average overall in our ROTC program. We come up with a 94. We wanted over 10% of our core to be in the Air Force's version of Principal's Honor Roll. We call it our Kitty Hawk Air Society, and we reached 20%. The reason why I'm telling you this is for 3 straight years we've met 100% graduation with our senior flight. Now, I want to identify 2 of them again. Emily Klaus. Emily, raise your hand. This young lady is going to the University of Missouri ROTC program, and she's going to be studying meteorology. So in about 4 or 5 years, if you don't like the weather, just give her an email. The next one I want to highlight is Rebecca Tamor. She's the one that we're kind of coaching a certain way. Number 1 is the A+ programs, where we want her to, or at least I'm pushing her to, do 2 years at MAC and then go Air Force and let the Air Force finish the last 2 years of your college. She doesn't know if she wants to go directly into the Air Force. Either way, it's going to be a win-win. Emily Damba, National Honor Society. Laura Lee Bader, Kitty Hawk, and varsity basketball. So we are a well-rounded organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for the time to come by.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
CTA,
I think we have anybody from CTA. You can ask.
anybody from CTA? We have 1 letter, I think you all saw from the band instructor. Superintendent's report.
Dr. Thomas was out of the district and hated to miss tonight, but she wanted me to again thank Dr. Ben Roethlisberger and Mr. Kevin Harrington for their service over the last 3 years on the Board of Education. She also wanted me to welcome Mr. Kerry Noble and Mrs. Joan Sullivan to the Board of Education, and we're looking forward to hopefully many years of service. She also wanted me to congratulate the administrators for their forward thinking and their commitment to putting technology in more teachers' hands and more students' hands as we move forward in our planning with the Farmington district. Thank you.
Before you have your informational items, if there's no discussion there, any questions, we'll move on to discussion. We have pulled from the discussion items D, E, F, K, and L. D, E, F, K, and L. If we could get a motion to approve those discussion items except for D, E, F, K, and L.
So moved. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve discussion items excluding D, E, F, K, and L. All those in favor? Opposed? Now I would entertain a motion. No, I wouldn't either. Let's don't do that. Let's just get after them, okay? One at a time. Start with D. Item D, consideration of group health and life insurance recommendation. Mr. Eaton?
Thank you, Mr. Hayne. As you can see, you have my information there. I previewed this for you at the last meeting in terms of the direction that the district's insurance advisory group was taking this year. The one thing I did not have at that time were the actual premium rates for the upcoming year. We did receive quotes on our current plans to keep everything exactly as is. And you know, the district cost to keep that would have been about $250,000, and I just felt like that was really out of the question for us to recommend that. And to be honest with you, the committee was very excited about the other portion of my memorandum here, the Anthem Health Marketplace. Since that was introduced to them in January, and it's actually a brand new program from Anthem, they only begin to market in January. The committee was very excited about this. We actually had representatives from Anthem here at one of the meetings to discuss this. It really is in response to healthcare reform, these type of products, and I think you'll see other companies perhaps rolling these kind of plans out, but it really is a move toward a defined contribution type plan. A lot of employers are having to cover employees they've never had to cover before. That really doesn't affect us so much, but I think you're going to see more of this thing where the employer is going to offer a wide range of choices, and they're going to basically specify the dollar amount. Now, because our policy still says, it doesn't really refer to dollar amounts, it just says that the district shall maintain at its expense a health plan for eligible employees. So saying that, we still needed to focus, I think, on a base plan or a core plan. In other words, a plan where any full-time district employee can be covered and not have to pay anything for their coverage. As you know, in the past, we've had a couple of buy-opt options which employees can pay the difference. Also, employees who cover their spouse and or children pay for that as well, although they can do so using pre-tax dollars, which is a benefit. So basically, as you can see, the committee members, I think, did a really good job. And we looked at the 4 families of plans. Each family had 8 different choices within that family. Once we kind of settled in on what we felt was a reasonable amount from affordability, and an interesting point, I think, and the committee does a great job, and a lot of these people have been on this group for several years, and I think they really do understand the concept that, you know, we have roughly 450 employees, we have about 130 or so retirees in the group, not to mention everyone's, you know, spouses and kids. So you're really looking at not just what's affordable from a district point of view, but what's affordable for an employee to cover, you know, their family. So I think the committee has done a really good job, and they actually selected Family Design 2, option 6. Now within that family, there were 6 PPO choices, and a PPO plan is basically what we have now. It's basically you can go to any provider in the network, no referrals, that kind of thing. It's very user-friendly. And then there's also 2 health savings account options within there. I don't know if any of you are familiar with health savings account. That has to be tied to a high deductible plan. It's a mechanism where an employee and or an employer can contribute money to that employee's health savings account. It works very similar to our Aflac Flex medical plan, except the one advantage of a health savings account is if you leave the district or whatever, you can take that money with you. It's actually your savings account. There's no use it or lose it rule like with a flex plan. So it's a lot more portable. And whether the employer puts money in or whether the employee puts money in, it's either tax deferred, or if an employee goes and makes direct contributions to their HSA, it's tax deductible for them at the end of the year. The money can be used to pay for medical expenses, just like you use your flex plan. It can be, but the employee gets to choose. You can direct how you want that HSA to be spent. And like I said, as long as you spend on medical expenses, you're going to be fine. So this was something that actually the group had looked at last year and just felt it was too late to implement last year. We are not members of the MAAA consortium, which most of the area school districts are, but I can tell you that they have an HSA option in their consortium and have had for probably 2 or 3 years. So once again, I think this is a good thing. What we are recommending, what the committee has recommended, is that the district would pay 100% of the premium for employees under the option 6, but that employees would be free to choose any of those 8 options. And there actually is one HSA option on there that's actually a little bit less than the base paid, board paid premium. And I am still working out the details on that, but one of two things would happen with that difference. We would either, as a district, put that money into the employee's HSA, or the employee may be able to apply that to their family coverage if they're covering others. I know that North County does this. I think Arcadia Valley has an HSA, and I've already talked to First State Community, who's our depository, about setting up some HSAs for our employees. So, the good news is, if the board accepts this recommendation, is that our employees will have 8 choices. The bad news is they'll have 8 choices. But I do think, and this is something we've been working toward, I think, for a number of years. We have had 2 options for several years. This past year, we actually had 3. But to be quite honest with you, there wasn't a lot of variation in the plans other than just buying a smaller deductible. I think when you look at this family of plans, you can see some really good choices here with respect to not only lower deductibles, but different co-insurance, and really some options here to really cap your out-of-pocket maximum in a year where you expect to maybe have some medical things going on. So there is some good variation. I think it'll be some good choices. And that's our recommendation for the health. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Eaton. I know that you and the committee put a lot of time in on that, and we appreciate that.
And as you can see, we also have a recommendation for the life insurance continuation, which is at the same rate as last year. We're also recommending that we continue with Barton Insurance Services as the agent of record. And one new thing we could implement at no cost, the committee actually heard from Horace Mann Company, which is an insurance company that's really centered around educators. And we are going to offer, with your approval, basically a payroll deduction for employees who want to buy their auto insurance through Horace Mann. And that'll be at no cost to us other than just facilitating the payroll deduct. Any questions?
I do have one question. Well,
Sir?
I have 2 questions. The current plan, I'm sure it's in the material, I just probably could find it, but the current plan, is it a 70-30 plan?
Our current plan is a $2,000 deductible. Our base plan is a $2,000 deductible. It's an 80-20.
80-20, okay.
Right.
So this is a change from the base.
This is a change. This is going to be a higher deductible. And as with anything, I think even had we not looked at the marketplace, to keep everything the same would have been $250,000. I think that would have been a difficult recommendation to make. To be quite honest with you, I think the insurance companies, there's a lot of uncertainty with regulations, regarding the new health care, so I think they're building in a little cushion. As you can see from my memo, I think our actual renewal on our base would have been a little over 9%, but with the added fees pertaining to the new Affordable Care Act, it actually was more like a 12%. So there are fees now that are going to be in those plans and everybody's plans from here on out.
And then, let's see, I think I had one question on the rate, the 40109. That compares how favorably to the present rate that the school provides?
Our current base plan for this year is $385.22.
Okay.
So it's an increase of about $15 or something.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Let's stay up for salary schedule.
Yeah, hey, Don, if you don't mind, consideration of certified salary schedule for 2013 and 14.
Okay. This is something the executive group has been discussing for at least probably 2-3 weeks. Just to give you a little background, I'm sure some of you probably remember this, but the last time we actually added anything to our base schedules for teachers was in the 2008-09 school year. At that time, we raised it $600 from the previous year to get to our current base teacher's pay of $35,500. In 2009-10, employees, all employees actually did get a 2.5% raise, but that was done off schedule. So it actually was just a one-year thing that didn't actually increase the salary schedules. For the last 3 years, including this one, we basically just given steps only for education and experience. So that being said, I think there's been a lot of discussion and, given the importance of being able to retain and to attract quality employees, that it might be time to look at trying to do something on our salary schedules. And as you know, we were able to add to our reserves a little bit last year. It's difficult when the state's still only funding us at about 92% of what we should be getting, but I still feel this is an important thing for us to consider. The number we have talked about as something reasonable, yet I don't think it's extravagant, would be to add $500 to our teacher base pay to bring it to $36,000.
And again, in those conversations that we've had as an executive administrative team, we felt it was important, since it's been 2008, 2009, since there was an increase to that base, we felt it was time, considering, all of our financial pieces, when everything was considered together, we felt it was, important to do this for our staff. We've worked a lot over the last 3 weeks, to make some of these calculations and look at projections. And we don't have the final numbers, obviously, for the budget. We'll have that later on. But we felt like moving forward, this was an important piece because our staff, not only certified staff, but our classified staff both do a fantastic job. And it's been 2008, 2009 since we've done something for them. So.
And along with that, which I believe is the next item on there as well.
Classified.
As has always been the custom, I've been here 16 years, been fortunate to work with some, I guess 17, but been fortunate to work with some really good people. And one of the things that the leadership and the superintendents I've always worked with, and I felt like this district has been very good at, was taking care of everyone and treating everyone as fairly as we could. And I do not remember an occasion when we increased certified schedules without trying to increase classified in roughly the same percentage to do something for the entire staff. So along those lines, if the board accepts our recommendation for the teacher base, we would propose adding 2% to the base of all the classified schedules as well. And of course, I guess this goes without saying, we would recommend allowing steps, obviously, for education experience for both certified and classified. And the classified, once again, fall into that same time frame. They have not received any increases on their base during that time as well. So it's been a while. We'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Are we going to have any budget numbers to look at before we go ahead with this?
Well, probably not. I can give you what I believe this would cost. I believe that if we move forward with the certified and the classified increases that we've talked about recommending, and allowing the steps, including an estimate for benefits, I believe we would be looking in the neighborhood of $575,000 total. Now, one thing which we're currently working on that, and as we're working on personnel for next year, I believe some of that can be recouped through position changes, through retirements, because a lot of times when people leave the district, especially if they're retiring, they've been with us quite some time, and generally they're going to be right at the end of those salary schedules. So most times you're not going to be bringing in someone with that level of salary. So there's going to be some savings there, and sometimes that can be fairly significant. But I don't have that number yet. The other thing, that I could point out, I gave my third quarter budget memorandum to you guys, and we're, for operating purposes, about $80,000 in the red at this point. There are some numbers that I didn't feel comfortable putting in there, but I think there's some positive signs. For instance, the state is still paying us a little over 92%. Our budget still has 91%. I have not adjusted that because I don't know what the state's going to do for sure. They have not dropped it all year, so there's a good chance that we could end up, a couple $100,000 plus there. You try to weigh those positives with the negatives. I think worst case scenario, which I don't think will happen, is if we couldn't have some money in the bank at the end of this year or add something to the reserves. The board had set that 15% minimum level for our fund balances. And of course, we were able to put money in there last year. We actually started the year with about 20%. And there's a cushion there. I'm not saying that we should always spend that, but that cushion is there, worst case scenario. And that difference between that 15% and that unobligated fund balance, we have about 1.3 million in unobligated fund balance at this point. So this is something we've talked about doing. I think it gets to the point is always trying to do what's best for the district. And, during the 3 or 4 years, we've not really done much with those schedules. Retirement's gone up. The health insurance has gone up, although we've tried to keep it at as low as possible. But so people find themselves with more money going out of their checks than what's being added. It's difficult.
How do you think this would impact us being able to maintain some of the roofs that are in such terrible shape and some of our other things that we also need?
Well, I think it's a commitment. It is. It could affect it because I think you're making a commitment, and obviously once you put that on the schedule, that that's what we're going to issue contracts on, and you go from there. I do think the roofs are very important. I also think our staff is extremely important in terms of what we can, because we ask a lot of them. So it could. And a lot depends on which I talked about last year, not only with the board but with staff at several meetings about the reason why bond issues are so important. It's sometimes, not only does it enable you to grow and to expand your facilities, to improve your facilities, but sometimes it's what bond issues can do that you don't have to pay for out of operations that make these kind of things possible. So that's why bond issues are so important sometimes. But I can't give you a guarantee, Ben.
How does the base schedules compare to area school districts? Is it fairly close? Farmington.
At one time, we were toward the top, probably. I know Central's probably higher. There's probably several that are a little bit higher than us right now.
Over the last 4 to 5 years, St. John has added significantly to theirs. And they're in a little bit different situation than we are with Holcomb being there. Central has added either an off schedule or an on schedule over the past 5 years, each of those years. And again, we just felt like as an executive group that, 4 to 5 years is a long time to go without adding anything, especially when retirements went up. It's been 1.5% to 2% over that time period. So we're still, I would say we're middle, probably middle to upper end, but at one time, probably 5 or 6 years ago, we were probably first or second, on that.
Yeah, and I know the other districts have added some off-schedule things and some on schedule. I can tell you that I think the back end of our schedule is still very, very good because I think it always has been. I think once masters and above, I think we are really probably in pretty good shape. It's in front of that and newer teachers, and that I don't think we rank as high as we once did.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Don. Item K, consideration of transportation software purchase. Mr. White?
And Stacy.
So we were asked to look for some transportation hardware and software for the buses so we can have cameras that we could have clear video that was downloaded to servers wirelessly to back to the central office or somewhere located in the school district. And we reviewed several different vendors and narrowed down to 2. And then we chose the one that we currently are using, and it has the better price as well. And that was REI with Central Bus States.
I noticed on the bid here, it was for 16 buses, but we're running 32 buses, right?
Well, with sub buses, yes. We actually have 41.
40, how many do we have actually on a route?
On routes, we
Yeah.
have 27.
27.
And then, but we need sub buses too, so.
Right. I thought back when we first discussed this that we kind of came to a conclusion that we wanted to cover all the buses out on the routes and everything, so.
Well, it wasn't voted on. When I went back and looked at it, because that's what I thought too also. Then when I went back, it wasn't something that was voted on, so I just assumed it stayed at 16. That's what I was told.
Okay, well,
Am I wrong?
I went back too and I couldn't, there wasn't anything in there, but I thought it was pretty well a general consensus that that's what we wanted and everything, and.
But we can do that now.
Well, that's what I'm
we can
getting ready to say. I think we need to cover all the routes and not just, because, you know,
So I think
what happens when we have something happen on a bus that's not,
I think the plan was, from what I saw, was 16 this year and then 17 next, so we can combine them both.
I think we should do them all.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, I'll make that motion right now. We cover all of them in that.
Sounds good.
And I'll
Thank you.
second.
They're in color. It's front camera, back camera. I mean, it's definitely going to be beneficial to not only principals, but to drivers. I mean, it's a win-win all the way around, so.
We okay bid-wise to just increase it? Do we have to go back and?
Actually, we might get a better bid.
Yeah. that's
We
what I'm thinking.
actually got a better, we originally budgeted 1,800 per bus, and we actually got it down to about 1,600 per bus already. So we're in good shape as far as the budget amount per bus. We might be able to get a better bid even.
And sometimes when you order that many, they usually will, but we're definitely going to try.
I do have one question about the bid. I don't know. On the wireless bridge kit, I noticed that the preferred bid is $1,200 higher. Is that, is that just a common feature? Is that there's something distinctly different between?
Yeah, that would be for all 16. I think per bus is about
Oh, so,
about
yeah.
100.
Only $100, yeah.
Dollar difference. And that is, they usually use, for the buses, they use a proprietary bridge, wireless bridge, basically is what connects the bus to our wireless system. And so we had discussed with both of them about using a separate product that might be cheaper, but they were insistent that it's proprietary to their system.
Okay.
But we could try that, though.
But
We could definitely try that, because I know there are other products out there that,
I was just asking, is that optional, or is it this system is compatible with this? So this is why they quote it this way, probably because it's not, doesn't have interface or, okay. That's fine. Not a big deal, I was asking.
but there is a significant difference when you look at some of the other bridge kits that are like, we checked out, there's like $150, $200, and the company, when they were telling us, they said, well, there's a 3-year warranty, and Andy said, well, we could buy a lot in 3 years, you know, just to have that warranty, so, I mean.
Sure.
What's your time frame on this?
The installation is going to be up to the other mechanics, so hopefully we can have them done within, a month after ordering. They're thinking they can do 1 or 2 a day, and so within the next 35 days.
So do you feel it beneficial to rebid, cost savings wise?
We can.
To rebid or just go back and ask them? Is that what you mean?
In the bid, we can put in there where we can actually go back and negotiate if we wanted to. So if we choose to stick with REI and sort of bus dates, I can go back with them and negotiate better prices if I need to.
I think since we're adding the extra, then
I'll definitely
I
do
think
that.
they'll, you know, may possibly give us a better bid there.
I'll definitely do that.
Sounds good.
Any questions about the camera systems, though?
Well, we have, hang on just a second.
Okay.
You made a motion.
To go ahead and equip the rest of the buses.
27 buses?
The 27
The
route
27
buses?
route buses
Okay.
in that.
And then get the
And
rest
then
of
get
them
the
next
rest
year?
later.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then,
But to have 2 cameras on every bus.
yes.
And Dolores, you second that.
I second that.
Okay.
So I need a vote.
Yes, we will. Any other discussion? No? All those in favor of equipping our buses with 2 cameras and having them all ordered and ready to go for next year, raise your hand. Opposed? Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
very much, appreciate it.
Now we still need to come back and vote on that. Well, we do.
We've still got to vote.
To approve that.
Yeah.
Okay, item number L, letter L, I guess. Consideration of human resources software and service purchases. Ms. Trask and Mr. White.
Oh, you're fine.
We went through several different, first Brent and I went through several different vendors, I'd say about 8 different software vendors looking at different packages for human resources. And we narrowed them down to 4 for the committee to review and look at. And they're all, those 4, roughly as far as the features and software go, were all very similar. It came down mostly to user interface and the cost. And after much discussion, many web interviews, many webinars, hours, we narrowed it down to Software Unlimited. And basically what the software will allow us to do is take all the spreadsheets, all the Word documents, all the different information we have scattered throughout directories into one database that will allow us to consolidate that data into a central place, so there's no duplicate data anywhere. Be able to generate any kind of documents, any kind of contracts on quicker. We'll be able to get information processed, whether that be for the state or for any other agency. We'll be able to process it quicker with less time and less man hours. And that was basically what we decided to go with, was the Software Unlimited.
And these webinars were conducted back, was that late February, early March?
We started
time?
about mid-January and
Mid-January.
ended about, I'd say 1st of March, we finalized those.
And present during those, I mean, we had basically the executive group that were involved in that at central
And
office.
a few
So
other central office individuals.
Would you define this as like a single source solution, or are these interface programs that are working together?
What this has, this software, it comes with the main package we're using will be the HR system, but it also has the ability to later on add financial packages like the accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger. We also can do fixed assets and payroll as well down the road if we wanted to use those.
So those are all modules
Those are all
that you
modules within this
can add as
package.
you see need. Okay, good.
And it currently, the company that we're recommending is willing to work with the current companies we have for our financial and our payroll to integrate tightly so that all the information doesn't have to be duplicated in both systems as well.
This, the part about the time card on the employees and everything, how's that work?
Well, currently we use a time card, or we use a time clock system already. And it basically would just be replacing that, where they come in and they clock in, tracks their time. And then, if I'm not mistaken, also tracks absences. And so also included with this would be, we're considering the Subfinder software. Well, so when a teacher or an individual calls in or schedules their absence, it'll automatically generate a sub-list for the building to use, to either send an email already, or the individual can check at home in the morning or at night to see if they're going to be have to come in and who they're subbing for. So it'll save time there as well, because we currently use an individual to go through all the schools for the sub-list.
Okay.
And individual buildings also make calls because I'm in that situation now. So you become desperate and you make phone calls at a building level while also there's calls being made at the district level with that sub-caller. So people get multiple phone calls, and this system has a lot of flexibility and the ability to actually kind of prioritize whether a person's going to be an elementary sub and they have, let's say, a math background. So it kind of prioritizes there and calls with a preference in some of those pieces. You know, for example, if a substitute specializes at the high school level and, you know, has a degree in social studies or comm arts, it would kind of sort that and actually go ahead and make that phone call first. You can set up several different pieces to that where it actually finds you kind of the best sub for that situation.
It's a very intelligent piece of software.
And that substitute tracking system is ASOP, and one of the reasons why that's being recommended is because of its ability to interface with Software Unlimited, as well as VeriTime, which is essentially another solution, part of ASOP. So,
What timeline are we looking, if we go ahead and vote for this, what timeline are we looking at up fully going?
beginning of the school year. It's about a 6 to 8 week window to get all of the information into the system. Again, we have a lot of manual forms that we're tracking, employee information. We have our payroll system. We can pull some information out of that as well. So it's going to take some time to get all the fields populated in those systems so we can kind of take the downtime, if you will, between the 2 school years to get all of that up and running. Design training for our users so everybody understands how to clock in, clock out, get schedules in the time system as well. So it's a lot of data that will be uploaded into the system, and the companies have a lot of backdoor interfacing that they actually do. They'll take Excel spreadsheets and actually upload that into the system for us.
And as we've discussed before with Mr. Eden and the accounts payable piece and the financial piece, we're not looking at implementing that immediately, but that would be something that 2-3 years down the road, we can certainly look at pulling those pieces in, which is ultimately going to be a cost savings for us over the bid that you guys have.
Any further questions? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's go back to D. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the group health and life insurance as recommended.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor of D, raise your hand. Opposed? Item E, certified salary schedule change of $500.
I just have one question again on that, maybe.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and get the motion up in a second in discussion?
Sure.
Then we'll discuss it and let everybody have a shot at it.
I'd kind of like to make a motion that we approve it, but can we put it on 30-day review with final approval? Just because we haven't, this is the first we've talked about it.
I don't think we want to put it into a motion.
Okay.
Okay, I think if we want to put it on 30-day review, we can certainly do that.
So you want to do E and F on a 30-day review?
Yeah, but we make a motion that we approve the salary schedule. Or just put it on 30-day review. I'm sorry.
30-day review.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
And I guess, Don,
So
could you run those numbers?
Can you try to give us some?
Actual run the numbers for those for next month? What's that going to do to you time-wise?
Well, I mean, giving the end of year projections and things like that.
No, I'm just talking about
Cost of it.
with salaries, with contracts and all that stuff coming.
We'll need to go ahead and issue a contract. because
Yeah,
we're
you can do
obligated.
that.
I understand that,
And
but
we'll just have to issue a new contract.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you, I gave you guys an estimate of what I believe it could cost. It could be less than that, so if that's what you're after. Yeah, I'm continuously working on this.
Yeah, okay.
You have a
Harry, can I ask a question
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned, Mr. Eaton, that the classified salary schedule that you were proposing to look at would be at 2%. And then the certified salary you were saying was a fixed dollar amount.
Yes.
So that percent is not going to be relative. In other words, again, that's just to the base entry-level schedule. So we're not talking about every classified staff person's range or something being altered. It's just the entry-level schedule. Did I understand that right?
The way our classified salary schedules work, I think in almost every occasion, is there's always a starting salary on that schedule. So what we would do is add 2% to that very starting number. Now, each of them have different increments down for years of experience, so I can't, it's not going to work out to exactly 2%. It's going to be, but when you add 2% to that base, obviously that flows all throughout the schedule.
Sure.
And plus, not only are you adding that 2%, but people are actually moving down a step, assuming they've been with the district. So,
well,
it's basically not adding 2% to every classified staff. It's adding 2% to all the classified base schedules.
Okay, but how does that compare though to the $500 on a certified schedule? Because that is apparently a much different percent, because it's not 2%. 2% would be $700.
It should be fairly close. I can't guarantee it's going to be exact. I think that's
I think it's 0.175 or 1.75%, so it's close to 2.
It's really difficult to match up all the classifieds with the certified exactly.
Right.
We in the past we've always tried to try to get what is an increase, for instance, for a teacher who maybe doesn't move over on the education columns, but yet has been with the district. You just have to kind of get a feel for that, about what that number is, and generally you can tell what that range is. Obviously we feel like that would be fairly close. I can't guarantee everyone's going to get the same percent unless the board just decides to say we're going to add a certain percent to everyone's salary.
Well, and that's the reason for me asking the question, because to me, in fairness, if it's in a percentage, then it is equitable. Otherwise, it may not be equitable, because then someone may be getting $500 for somebody may be 4%, it might be 1%, I don't know. But I mean, I was trying to get a sense, because I realize you're talking about two different classifications of staff here too. And I'm not trying to intermingle those, but I mean.
And we have classified schedules for each of our, it's not just one classified schedule. It's going to, paraprofessionals, nurses, social workers, there are about 7 bus drivers. So they're all different.
Okay.
And like I said, they all have different increments based on years of experience.
Okay.
And like I said, normally we just tried to kind of look at that range and make it as fair as we could.
Okay, that's fine.
We can, obviously, if you're going to put it on 30-day review, I hopefully would have a little further along in the schedules, and maybe I can give you a better idea. We could check it, obviously.
I'd just like to know what, I mean, if you're going to go with 2% on classified, if that looks like where you're going to be, how does that compare to the certified schedule? At what percent are we looking on the certified side? Exactly. That's what I was going to, okay, good.
We obviously want to try to make it better.
What we're going to do is individually. Do we need a motion to 30-day review for?
We're going to need a motion for each item that we pulled off. So,
I
Joan,
have a motion for item E.
you have a motion from Joan on item E to put it on 30-day review.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, second.
I second. I did second that.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for item E to put it on a 30-day review. All those in favor of that, raise your hand. Those opposed? And item F, the classified salary schedule.
Go ahead.
I move that we put it on the 30-day review.
Yeah, I'll second that.
No further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Item K.
We've already done.
No, we have not. What we did was approved getting 27 cameras. Now we need to have a motion to approve the firm that you selected.
Right.
Okay? So I would entertain a motion to, and what firm was that again? Central States? Yeah, so I'd entertain a motion to approve Central States as our vendor for bus cameras.
I would move that we approve Central States as our vendor for the
I'll second
cameras.
Okay, if there's no further discussion then, all those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. Item L, Human Resource Software Package.
I'll move that we accept ordering it from Software Unlimited.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of item L, raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion's carried. Okay,
We have two other vendors on that.
I'm sorry?
We have two other vendors on that item. ASAP and the time entry, which is very time. So are we
There's three
only
purchases
approving-
with that.
Are we only approving the HR piece
No.
of that?
No.
ASAP?
I'm assuming we're approving
The entire
L.
package.
Another motion.
Oh,
It was a package, but there's three vendors.
Right. So we okay?
No, I need another motion to approve the other two vendors.
so moved.
Okay.
So the one we approved was Software Unlimited?
Software Unlimited,
So
right.
so you need ASOP and Subfinder?
Veritime. ASAP and Veritime.
And I did the motion if you'd like to second.
I will second.
For which one?
For both, we did both of them.
For both.
Veritime and ASAP, the rest of the package.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That was L. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to 610.021, paragraphs 1, 3, and 13.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn to closed session.
Roll call. Davis.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes.
Noble.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Folks, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.